Hi, welcome to the course 50 Natural English Expressions by Speak English with Vanessa. I'm Vanessa, and in this course, I'm going to teach you 50 expressions that native speakers use in daily conversation. In the course, you're going to hear my voice, and you'll also hear the voice of my husband, Dan, who's going to join me for the conversation lessons. So I recommend listening to these episodes and also downloading the transcript and reading it at the same time. It's useful to listen and read at the same time so that you can catch each expression and each sentence and understand it more fully. Are you ready to get started? This is the first lesson in the first section about family. Each section is a different topic, but you can use these expressions in other circumstances, of course. But I think it's really valuable to remember expressions in a context. I want you to remember the stories, remember the sentences. So I put them into different categories, different sections, so that you can more easily remember them. So the first lesson, the first expression today is go home, come home, or go to the house. But first, I want to tell you two sentences that my students have often used that are not correct. I've heard my students say, I came to home at 6 p.m. every night. I go to home at 6 p.m. every night. The problem is adding to with home. We only use to with house. I came to the house. I went to the house at 6 p.m. But we don't really use this expression to the house very often, so I want to teach you how to use go home, come home. And we're not going to focus on go and come. We're going to focus on home, this entire expression, go home, come home. So I want to teach you 3 different ways to use this expression. First, in a positive way, then in a negative way, and then in a question. First, let's look at a positive sentence. You can say, when I come home, I usually change into comfortable clothes. Or you could say, most college students go home for summer vacation. This is a come home, go home. There's no to in this expression. Let's take a look at a negative sentence. Here are 2 examples. You could say, I can't go home for summer vacation because I got a part-time job near my college. Or, I'm sorry, but I can't come home at 6 tonight. We have a surprise meeting until 8 p.m. Can't come home, can't go home. Let's look at 2 questions so that you can use this expression in a question. You could say, are you going to go home early tonight? Or we could say, why can't you come home early? I made a nice dinner and the weather is perfect for a picnic. Come home, go home. And now I want to tell you a story so that you can remember this expression and the context so that you can use it on your own. When I was a kid, I loved it when my dad came home. He always came home at 5:30 p.m. every night, and I knew it. In elementary school, I did my homework on the table in the kitchen, and I watched the front door to see if I could see his car. When I heard his car, every day, my sister and I both ran to the door to jump up and give him a big hug. We always screamed, Daddy's home! Daddy's home! Even though he was probably tired, he would always play with us and talk to us about our day. He could come home at 5:30 because he started work early at 8 o'clock in the morning. There were only a few days when he didn't come home at 5:30. When he had to go on a business trip, he always called us and said, I'm sorry, I can't go home until later tonight. But whenever he came home later, he always asked to talk to my sister and I on the phone to tell us. He would tell us, I'm sorry that I can't come home for dinner tonight, but tonight when I get home, I'll read you an extra story at bedtime. I feel really lucky to have a dad who cared about coming home to spend time with his family. And now I have 2 questions for you. But before I tell you the questions, I want to tell you what I recommend doing with these questions. There are a couple things. First of all, you can answer the question in your head. Maybe you're on the train right now and you don't feel comfortable speaking out loud. I understand. Answer the question in your head. Or if you're in a quiet place, if you're at home, if you are somewhere where you feel comfortable, answer the question out loud. Answer with a couple words, a sentence, or a complete story. Say as much as you can to exercise those speaking muscles. Another option is to go to our private Facebook group for course members only, and you can write your answer to these questions and share it with other people, or better yet, make a quick video and exercise those speaking muscles and share it with other people. This is a positive environment so you can feel comfortable writing and speaking and using English. So are you ready for those 2 questions that you can answer to use today's expressions? The first question is, what time do you go home from work or school? What time do you go home from work or school? And the second question is, what do you do when you come home from work? What do you do after you get home? Do you watch TV? Do you eat some dinner? Do you relax? Do you play with your kids? Tell me, what do you do when you come home from work? I'm looking forward to helping you use your speaking skills and also using this expression. That is the most important part, to help you remember it and to help you gain confidence. So speak out loud or write an answer in our Facebook group or make a quick video to share your answers with everyone. I'll see you again in lesson number 2.